Here we go. Go live. It's weird. I usually use enable auto start, and so I never have to hit the go live button.
Oh, really? I never have auto start enabled.
Really? I
Yeah, I
just
like
find it
to.
much more convenient.
I usually start my streams 5 minutes before,
Oh.
and then I just hit go live when I'm ready to go live.
Oh, that's right. I remember because you did that one stream and I
And
had
I was
set
just
it up
sitting,
for you, and you were like, you're just sitting
reading,
there singing or whatever.
drinking my coffee, and you're like, "You're on camera." I'm like, "Why am I on camera?" Oh, you're set to auto start. Hey,
Oh,
everybody.
that's too funny. Hey, everybody, how's it going? There's a bunch of people here, and you guys are awesome for hanging out with us. Lloyd, I want to start off with your questions, and then we'll get to the questions that people have in chat. Because Lloyd and I have been stupidly busy, and we just have not had a chance to talk about the Steam Deck hardly at all. I've been exhausted because I've just been trying to do so many things, and it very little of it was actually playing games. But Lloyd, what's your what like? Throw a question at me.
So, how many times have you taken it apart and put it back together, Bill?
Oh, let's see. Carry the 2-0 because
Oh,
I am not taking this thing apart. I know my abilities,
hmm.
and if I take it apart, there's no way I'm getting it back together. I know that I saw the video where they were talking, where they there's all these live streams or videos where they take it completely apart and put it all back together, and I know that it's doable. It's not
Hmm.
doable by me.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm probably not going to end up taking mine apart at all. Even though I said I probably will take it to put storage in. We'll see how that goes. It'll be a while. It'll be a while before I even get mine. So I don't even have. I can think about taking it apart for longer than I'll probably think about it when I get it, because I won't want to destroy my device when I have it in my hands.
Yeah, that's true. Real quick, I wanted to address something from the video yesterday. So, in my computer, I have two capture cards: a capture card that this camera goes into, and then a capture card that usually captures my consoles or whatever. And so, hold on, I plugged this into the capture card that like my Xbox is plugged into, and all that stuff. And I had received an email from Lawrence Yang, because that's basically during the embargo stuff how they were giving out like patch notes. And one of the things he said is that it doesn't follow the correct resolutions when you plug it into a device. And when I read that, I misunderstood what he meant. So I assumed that by plugging it into my capture card, it was just going to do what it was going to do, and there was nothing that I could do about it. And I did go into the capture card settings and I tried rescaling it from 4K because it's a 4K capture card. I tried rescaling it to 1080p, and everything that I tried to change the way it's being captured, none of it worked. Absolutely zero of it worked. So that was really frustrating. But what I ended up doing is I switched my capture cards around. I have my camera going into the 4K capture card now, and this is going into the 1080p capture card. And lo and behold, I was able to set it at a lower resolution, and so it's actually working now. Like if I go in and change the resolution of the capture card, it actually changes how it outputs, so you can see it. You can see the UI a little bit better. So
Much better.
yeah, it was really frustrating that it was so tiny, but I thought that there was nothing that I could do about it. It turns
Yeah.
out it was a capture card issue, not the Steam Deck issue.
And to be fair, you had the device in your hands for like 5 hours before you started recording this stuff. So it's not like you had, or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it's not like you had 2 weeks, like some of the reviews, like Polygon. They're like, we've been using it primarily as our main gaming thing for 2 weeks, blah, 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 blah. So you didn't have that luxury of time. So you did as good as you could with the time constraints that you had. So good job there, Bill.
Thank you. But the issue that they were talking about in the email, when you plug it into a device, and if I try and set it to capture at 1280 by 800, is that the right numbers? I
Yep.
think that's the right numbers.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because it would be, yeah. If I try and capture it at that, it does kind of squish everything and pillar box it. and it
Right.
doesn't look right. So I'm currently got it capturing at 1080p, which is about as close as I can get to the real deal, and I think it looks decent. You guys can tell us how it is in chat. Before we get into the questions from chat, and we'll get some more questions from Lloyd here in a second. But before we do that, real quick shout out to the folks over at the official Stream Deck Discord. Thanks to them for pinning our live stream, and then they also contacted the people at the subreddit and pinned our live stream there. So big thank you to that and them. And if you want to check out that Discord, there is a link in the description down below. And I think they're actually like they do giveaways and stuff as well. It's
Hmm.
crazy there. Like the conversation happens way too fast for me to follow anything. So I don't tend to talk in there very much because you say something and it just disappears into the ether incredibly fast. If you're looking
Hmm.
to join discords that aren't quite as intense, we also have a Discord, and there is a link in the description down below as well. All right. Next
That's right.
question, Lloyd. What's your next question?
Okay, Bill, you know it's coming. This is the question we've been asking on the show for a couple episodes now, a couple months now. What was the first game you played on your Steam Deck?
Okay. So the first game that I played on the Steam Deck was and honestly, it was not what I expected. I ended up playing this game before anything else because it was incredibly tiny. So that meant it would install super fast, and that was Vampire Survivors, uh, which is not the kind of game that you would expect. But the funny thing is about this game is this particular game um, is already set to what's the 16 by 10
Right.
resolution. Like when you play it on your computer, it's not the resolution that you would expect. And so
Yeah, it's 4 by 3 when you play it on your computer for the most part. So I was wondering how it would look on the Steam Deck.
it looks fantastic. I'm booting it up right now so that people can see the audio does not transfer through this, and so I cannot capture the audio, and
Mhm.
it doesn't come out of the speakers when I'm doing this either. But this game is so good, and it looks
There we go.
fantastic. And as you can see, it's pillar boxed right now.
Mhm.
On deck, it's not pillar boxed. So I'm gonna unhook this and
Oh, okay.
switch to the sky cam, and you can see it's not
Hmm.
pillar boxed. At least I don't think it is. Yeah, it's not pillar boxed, and it that's fantastic. But because I'm
Interesting.
capturing at 1080p, it pillar
Right.
boxes it, which is an issue there. If you
Mhm.
haven't played this game, play this game, people. Lloyd told me about it. It's $3. You're gonna look at it and you're gonna think that's a stupid game. Why would I be interested in playing that game? Trust me, it's incredibly fun. You just move around with just one thumbstick, but check this out. So I was playing. Wait, hold on. I better pause. Ah, all
Eep.
right. So I was playing the game, and I was like, you know what? Sometimes when I'm playing, I'm going through and I'm just using my left joystick to move around, and I'll be like, my hand is uncomfortable. I need to readjust, but I'm surrounded by enemies. Well, I wonder if I can use my right joystick. No, you can't. But on the Steam Deck, you can set
Right.
that up. So I can go in here and come over to my controller settings. And if I go into edit layout, I can go down to the joysticks, and my right joystick behavior, I set it as a joystick. And if I click on here, you can see that it's outputting the left joystick now.
Nice.
So now when I'm playing, if I did it right, I can also control it with the right joystick, so I can kind of switch back and forth which one I want to use.
See that this is one of the things that is making what will make rather the Steam Deck such an amazing interface for a lot of people that don't like the normal controls that are on games, either because of issues with mobility. They need some help to make games playing comfortable.
Hmm.
But it's not often that you have a portable console that has the complete freedom to remap absolutely everything at a system level or at a game level. I know the Switch added that, and that was nice, but that came years after the Nintendo Switch was out. To have that built in for day one is pretty huge, just for an accessibility standpoint.
Cobra in chat is saying Steam input existed for years. It did, and that's true,
Yeah.
but you've never really had it on a device that you could take with you, where you have
Yep.
everything is 100% customizable, and it's so fantastic. I will say, like, one of the things that I love about Steam input is, when the Steam controller, you have to use Steam input because it doesn't have a second thumbstick and it doesn't have a D-pad, and most games are made with those things in mind. And I think
Mhm.
for 90% of the games, when you're using the Steam Deck, you're going to be fine just using what is already there. And the pads and Steam input are going to be like an ancillary thing that you don't use often, but when you
Mhm.
do, it's going to be fantastic. Now, there's definitely an issue with the new Steam input, that there's things that we lost that we used to have. So I want to show people that real quick. I was playing Monster Hunter, and for those of you that don't know, in Monster Hunter, you have three basic attacks on most of your weapons. There's the Y attack, the B attack, and then the YB attack. And I thought, oh, what would be cool is if I could bind two buttons to the same thing, which you can do on the old Steam input, but I couldn't find a way to do it on the current Steam input. So if I go up to Monster
Right.
Hunter, if I can find it, oh, there it is. So if I go up to Monster Hunter, and you don't have to start the game in order to look at the controller layout, which is very, very
That's
cool.
nice.
And I
That's
I go
nice.
into edit the layout. And if I come down here to, actually, I stay here on buttons, and I want to look at the back grips, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to set L4, which is the button on the top on the left side. If I want to add something to that, I can go over here and add Y. So now when I hit that, that's the Y button, and you used to be able to have it be like a combo. And with the new way, you can't do it. At least I haven't found a way to find it yet, right? So if I go in
Mhm.
here and, like, I'm looking at all of the options, and I can't find, like, you can set it to be a toggle, which is really cool. So you can hit a button and have it just continually, or like turn it on and turn it off instead of having to hold the button the whole time, which is very nice.
Right.
But
Nice.
in the old way, you used to be able to click a button and say, "Hey, I want to do two things at once." Like, there was a game, I can't remember what it was, where I wanted to hit control and something, and I
Right.
couldn't figure out how to do that. This is way more intuitive than the old Steam
Mhm.
input, but I feel like we're missing some stuff.
Right. People in the chat room are saying, can you click add extra command when
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah. So if I had extra, oh, okay. So if I go in here and I add extra command, oh, and then I hit that, and then we hit B. So now that would be Y and B. So now I have to load the game up so we can find out if it worked, because I bet you that's what it was. Like,
Mhm.
the way that they said add extra command, to me, that didn't, like, I wasn't looking for that, because I was looking for somebody somebody said, they had a different name for that stuff before. I can't remember what it was.
Linked control or something. That's not what it was. I can't remember what it was called before.
And as you can see on my screen, it's pillar boxed again because different resolutions. But
Right.
that's as close as we can get. How comfortable is it to control with the mouse pads and such? It's very comfortable. I would say the joysticks are more comfortable.
Mhm.
And with the Steam controller, the 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 thumb pads were in a better place, but they were also way more important.
Right.
Don't see myself using the thumb pads to control cameras the way that we used to with the Steam controller. I see it
Uh,
more for adding in, like, radial menus and stuff like that, because that's going to completely change how you deal with games that have, like, lots and lots of inputs.
right.
But I still do use it to control the mouse and stuff.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, it looks very user friendly. That was my one worry, not really seeing the OS. I was wondering what it would look like in operation, and it looks really good. It does look like it's 1.0 of the OS, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of changes and cleanups and whatnot as we get closer to the real launch when like the first million ship or something. But it looks really good for what it is now.
Hey, the YB works. I'm hitting the button on the back. So
Yep.
additional input, it means it does two at once. They changed the phrasing, and I was looking for a different word when I was looking for that. So that's awesome.
Nico in the chat room says it was add activator, or
Yeah,
was it a
add
combined
activator was the
command?
thing that I was looking for, because that's what because you used to be able to say, okay, I want to say, or multi-input is what it was called actually, now that I think about it. Because they still have
Mhm.
activators and stuff. Hey, this is why we do the live stream, so that we can learn stuff. That's awesome. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's great.
All right, you were asking a
Fred,
question?
I can't remember what it was, but Fred says for small hands, do you think the deck will be comfortable? I know you don't have like basketball, like palm of basketball size hands, but you don't have small hands. How comfortable is it for you, Bill?
It is incredibly comfortable. Absolutely insane how comfortable this thing is. Whoa. Let me shut off the game so I'm not running the battery down. It's insanely comfortable. Like this thing, the way that they have the curves in the back is just absolutely perfect in my opinion.
Mhm.
Just gonna pick this up. There we go. It's very surprising how light it feels. My wife was sitting next to me. I was playing a game, and she said, "Well, let me try that out." And so I handed it to her, and she goes, "It's a lot lighter than I thought it would be." And that's because you look at it, and it's this giant thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I'll unplug this for a second. The meat of it, trying to get the camera angle right. The meat of it is really thin. Like
Yeah.
it's very thin in the middle, and it just looks a lot bigger. The curves in the back are awesome. I love how the buttons right here they sit right underneath. I don't know where my camera is. Right underneath my fingers like that. Absolutely perfect the way that that is. I will say that these two buttons right here, these are tough to reach.
Right.
I didn't like it when Nintendo put the plus and minus buttons up there either. And these two buttons are invisible to your fingers. Like you cannot find them in the dark. So like if I'm sitting in a dark room playing a game and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I got to hit the Steam button." I can't tell you how many times that I've clicked the thumb pad instead cuz it's raised
Right.
up, and this is almost flush
Right.
with the rest of the device. I really wish that they had put like a ridge around the Steam button and the quick access button.
It's surprising that they don't glow a little bit. You'd think they're for the Steam button at least there'd be a little tiny glow behind it. Would be nice.
Yeah, I also don't know why they didn't use the logo. Like, why
Mm,
didn't they use the logo for the Steam? I know it like because they wanted to be that like pill shaped form or whatever, but
sure.
I don't know. It would have been better, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it would have. I mean, that's a logo we use every day when we launch the clients. If you have a Steam controller, it's a button there. Yeah, it is kind of weird that that isn't the one that they used.
What other
All right.
questions?
I haven't been paying super attention just because it's scrolling super fast. But I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
Besides Monster Hunter and Vampire Survivors, what other games have you played? Because you were talking about playing Destiny, which isn't officially supported, but you're able to get Destiny working through a clever hack.
Okay, so I would say that this is definitely not. So that's going to lead us into the talking about the cloud, right? And so I have Nvidia provides us with 3080 tiers, and I have Destiny 2, The Witch Queen on PC, and I can play it through GeForce Now, which is really really awesome because it like people were making fun of me in yesterday's video because they saw that I had Chrome installed, and I happened to say, like, I think I phrased it something like, if I bring up my library, because I didn't have all these games installed because it takes a really long time to get stuff installed, and I brought up this, and people were like, "He's got Chrome installed? Who cares about that?" Although I don't know why I don't see it in here. Oh, because it's under
No.
non-Steam. I was showing people where non-Steam was, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's my favorite game, Chrome." So the reason that I installed Chrome was so I could try out GeForce Now and Stadia. Well, GeForce Now has Destiny 2, and I installed Destiny 2 on the Steam Deck, which took forever to install. And then I went to start it, and it just, like, it loads and then it crashes. And it turns out, I didn't realize this, but it's not supported because of like anti-cheat or something like that.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, I wonder if it'll work on GeForce Now. So I loaded up GeForce Now, and the issue is, and they are aware of this and they're working on this, that right now, if I go to Chrome, where's my mouse? There, and I'm going to come over here. So this is, first off, this is very cool. Valve has a bunch of templates that you can use that they have made. So you can see right here, layouts. They're calling them layouts, not templates anymore.
Right.
But layouts created by Valve, and so you got gamepad with joystick, trackpad, gamepad with gyro. It's really super fast and easy to switch between these things, which is very, very cool. So basically, what I was doing is I used the template for web browser in order to, when I'm using the web browser, in order to like navigate stuff. And then once I loaded up a game, I loaded up the controls that would make sense for a game. So I would go into the layouts and I would say, oh, I'm going to use the gamepad with joystick for trackpad because it makes perfect sense that that's what I would do.
Mhm.
Incompatible with the with GeForce Now. Like, it doesn't sense that there's a controller. I tried the same thing with Stadia, does not sense that there's a controller. What's the workaround? Well, the workaround is that you come down here to keyboard and mouse. And so you're tricking the device into thinking that you're using a keyboard and mouse, and it does work. But the issue is that every game has its own, like, things that you would
Right.
want to, like, customizations that you would want to do with the input methods.
Mhm.
And just, there is no one size fits all for every game that you might use on a cloud gaming. And so
Right.
that's why when you go into any other game, each game, I didn't mean to do that. Every single game library has its own, like, if I go in here to say Air Mech Strike, I don't even know where I got that game. But if I go in here, I can go over here and it has its own setup. But
Right.
because you're using a web browser, all of those setups are all under like one roof, and
Yeah.
it's just,
That's
it's
the
too
one app.
kludgy right now.
Well, there will be ways in the future to make a PWA. So install a progressive web app and have the icon on your Steam Deck, so you could launch Stadia or launch GeForce Now from an actual icon. It'll take a while for people to get that stuff ready, because you can do that now, using different flavors of Linux, and just have that stuff show up in your Steam library. So I'm sure down the road that'll be possible. But I mean, that's an interesting hack to get it working now. One question that I saw in the chat, which is interesting: can you lock the screen so no one can log into Steam if you lose it?
No, that is a huge failure in my opinion on Valve's part. Um,
So there's no there's no
there's no security
locking.
at all, I don't think. So if
Ow.
I go into Steam and I go to settings, um, let's see, there's there's nothing in
Nothing under
here.
settings.
There's nothing under system. System is just like your serial number and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, so as I went through this multiple times and I could not find anything that would say, "Hey, I want to have a code, like let me put ABBA in or something." None of that stuff is there.
Right.
And you can have multiple people use the same device, but nothing's going to stop the other person from accidentally loading into yours and maybe screwing up your game save.
Right.
So it,
So maybe that's a BIOS lock. So when you start the system and you can go into the BIOS, maybe there's a way to put like a passcode on the device when it boots.
yeah, maybe. I don't remember how to get into the BIOS. Can I show can I show different keyboards? Yes, I will show that in a little bit. Just in a moment. Let me I can't remember how to get into the BIOS. If somebody in chat knows how to get into the BIOS, I don't know if it'll show up on screen.
Yeah, yeah, probably not. I wouldn't. Well, you never know. A lot of modern computers,
Yeah.
if even if you're doing multiple video outs, they'll show the BIOS screen that way.
Duck Nebuchadnezzar says log out every time. The problem is that if you have a secure password, which I do, like all my passwords are stupidly long and complicated. They're like comprised of multiple words with dashes between them and numbers and stuff because I have a password manager. And um honestly, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. Logging out every time and then having to type in my password on this
Oh yeah.
on the keyboard, which is fine. Like here, I'll bring up the keyboard for you guys. Let me somebody was asking about the keyboard a second ago.
Hmm.
The keyboard's great. The little fancy keyboard that they give you. Where's the keyboard? Here we go. Show keyboard. So there's the keyboard there. One thing that I really like is when I hit buttons, you get a haptic thing that says, "Hey, you hit the button." On the Switch, I don't know if you've typed many things on the keyboard on the Switch. What a disaster that is. Like you tap it and you're like, I'm not. It's like it's not quite as responsive as like a phone is.
Right.
So this you get a little haptic. I got it when you're typing stuff in, which is very cool.
Nice.
So this is the keyboard that comes with the 512 version. You also have Night Shift, which is that one, which is kind of cool.
Ooh, I like that one.
You have Candy Coated, which looks like little chiclet keys.
I might accidentally eat my Steam Deck. I won't use that keyboard.
And then there's this is the one that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that it's there, but
Half-Life.
it's so hideous. And then there's the Dex 85, which is the one that you get for the fancy one. It's really nice looking. I wish that there were a dark mode because it contrasts so much with the UI itself. It's kind of goofy, but overall, I like it.
It's nice that they're giving people the ability to change that stuff because that's not something that generally would happen on a new system where you would have user control over different things like that. Usually it's like, here's your keyboard and you're going to like it. And that's the only keyboard you're ever going to get. So Valve to put things like that are user customizable is really nice.
Absolutely. People are saying BIOS is overlay button plus volume down when booting up. Makes me nervous going into the BIOS.
Maybe do it off cam. Maybe do it off cam at some other point.
Yeah. Maybe listen, if you want to watch a video where people are like yanking everything apart and doing crazy things to it, check out the Fox. He's really great. Our channel is a little less technical.
A little.
Orpheus wants to know, how does it taste? Do you think maybe that they coated it with that same thing that was on the Nintendo Switch
cartridges? Oh, that would be great.
I'm not gonna taste it. That's gross. Did you get the exclusive cover case with it? Cover? Oh, the
512 new case. Yeah.
Yeah, it came with this one. I mean, I haven't seen the other one, but I think it's just that's replaced with the middle is replaced with black instead of blue, right? Or maybe it's just white.
Is it the inside is blue on that one and it's not on the other ones? I can't remember what the difference is because I had already said, well, I'm getting the cheap one, so I don't even want to know what the good one has because I'm going to be sad.
This one's gray on the inside. What I will say about this is really nice. It's got this little strap here. So when you put it in and you want to get it back out, you could just lift it with the strap instead of trying to get your fingers underneath it. So that's nice. It's a hard shell case. Like, it's very nice. I'm a
Very nice.
fan, and it has like that recessed pouch underneath that everybody
Yeah.
was talking about. So if you put your charger in this little pouch, and then it fits right under there. It's kind of hard to
Hmm.
get the charger in the pouch, but I honestly I don't see myself doing that all that much. Like, I will take it with me when I go places and I will play it, but
Mhm.
I probably won't play it enough to run it out.
Nice. All right, chat room. Any questions for Bill and his Steam Deck other than, hey, can you go to the desktop mode and install this Java version of Minecraft? Because I don't think Bill is going to be doing that type of stuff.
I won't, but I will show you the desktop mode
Hmm.
really
Oh, did you
quick.
get Terraria installed, by the way?
I did. So I
Because
had
that has
installed it before, but then it was on it had installed to the SD card. It didn't ask me where I wanted to install it, which is
right.
weird. And it had installed it to the SD card, and then I took the SD card out because I was trying to put like files on it and put the SD card back in. And
Mm.
and so when I was shooting the video, I didn't have the SD card in. So when I went to start Terraria, it didn't start. I was like, it's not here. And I was very confused.
That's good that you have it installed because that's one of the games that has full touchscreen support. They updated a Steam Deck version of Terraria. Came out last week. I was wondering how is it? Does it control really well, or have you played it much?
So I'll say this. I'm not sure if it controls really well or if it doesn't, because its control scheme definitely is made with the deck in mind, right?
Mhm.
And I haven't played Terraria in a million years, so I'm not sure like what I want to do at different points. And so there's nothing that is telling me, hey, do this. And so there were times where I was very confused, and I will show that in just a second. Just let me boot up the desktop mode. So I'll go here. And Kodiak asked a question, but it scrolled on by. Can you find that?
Yeah, it's how are the temperatures on it?
Oh, okay. We will answer that question, Kodiak, in just a little bit. I have a thing that I can bring up on screen, which is absolutely fantastic. And I did not know much about it when I recorded the previous video because I didn't have a lot of time. So if you want to get to the desktop, you just hold down the power button for a second and it brings up your menu. And then I'm going to hit switch to desktop mode. And it's going to think about it for a second. And I have a keyboard here and I have my mouse.
Oh, nice. There you go.
It's
Right on a desktop.
and it's not, my mouse is not connected. So I have to use the trackpad for the mouse right now. And it's in a little tiny window on my screen. So it's really hard to see right now. So if I go Bluetooth, I want to connect my mouse. Yeah, it says it's disconnected. So if I go connect, there we go. Okay, now I've got the mouse.
Sweet.
So on the desktop, if you go right here, they have a place where you can go and like type in the software that you're looking for. So if you want to look for, say, Beast Nest,
hmm
it's
What's that called? I can't see the text. Which
uh
package manager is that?
I can't see it either. Discoverer,
Discover. What does it say? Just Steam Deck something?
where
The text at the top of that window.
it says search Beast Nest
Oh, okay.
Discoverer.
Okay. Sorry, it's so small on my screen.
Well, here,
your video feed.
let me switch this around. So if I go just the deck, does that make it any better?
A little bit. Yeah. I think it's more a me problem than a you problem. I'm just the way that I have your video popped out, I can't see it with any great level of detail.
Okay. So
Nicholas Scott says he thinks it's Panic.
Panic?
Or Goru says it's KDE Discoverer. Ah, that makes sense. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, you just search in there and you're like, oh, there's Beast Nest. And so then you can click a button and install it. And then once it's installed, if you want to add that to Steam, you actually start Steam, and it's going to update it as Steam is wont to do.
Well, that's great. That's great that you can actually even do that right from the desktop mode.
And it's going to give me a little ad, which I can't stand that. So then if I come down here, add a game, I can add a non-Steam game.
Right.
And then I can scroll down and find Beast Nest someplace. There it is. This is very small and hard to see. And then I hit add selected programs. And now I can close that. And I'm going to switch back to the regular UI by hitting the power button and hit log out, which took me forever to figure that part out. I was like, I don't want to log out. I just want to go back to launching the Steam OS stuff. And it's going to boot back up. There we go. And now if I go into my library, oh, hold on, I got to unplug it. Whenever I do this, it screws up the resolution until I unplug it and plug it back in. And I'm not sure why that is. So if I go into my library and I go all the way over to non-Steam, now instead of just Chrome, you can see that Beast Nest is there.
Nice. And yeah, that's how you'll be able to get down the road, get Stadia and GeForce Now. You would just create the bookmark, add it to Steam, and you can even have like nice icons and everything. So hopefully with a PWA, you'd have your own specific control configuration for the PWA.
What if you go into settings now and add a password? I don't think that there is a way. Let me just make this small. The people are still talking about the
security.
Yeah, the security stuff. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna unplug this so that it's small so I can see it and other people can't, because I don't know what'll show up here.
You have to make Skycam big. Oh, you want it to be small. I
want it to be small.
Yeah.
So under general, I don't see a password. Not seeing a password. And if I go, yeah, I'm not seeing a password thing anywhere on here. So unfortunately, there's not much that we can do right now, but hopefully they get that fixed. I mean, I got the Steam Deck late afternoon on the 24th. And since then, I've received like 7 emails from Lawrence Yang with like updates, like, hey, here's the things that we just changed. Here's the other things that we just changed. And so like they're changing stuff really, really fast. Really fast. Oh, they think they meant in desktop mode. I'll have to check that out on another time. Kodiak asked a question. Oh, about, check this out. This is so cool, Lloyd.
Yep.
So I'm going to start a game real quick. Any requests, Lloyd?
Let's see. Ori and the Blind Forest.
Okay.
Such a great game.
It is. And yes, people in chat, I did see that Valve basically said, hey, Microsoft, we'll put Game Pass on Steam if you want.
Yeah, that's so good. So good, man. Imagine if that does happen. Like how good of value just getting Game Pass would be if you have a Steam Deck. Like you don't even need an Xbox or whatever. You just do the cloud gaming or install the PC versions directly through Steam. Oh, that would be so amazing.
Unknown in chat says, do we think Steam Deck is ready for customers? Yeah, I think so. There's definitely rough edges that they need to sand, but overall, I mean, you have to think about who are the customers that are going to be most interested in this thing. And those are PC gamers, and PC gamers are I don't like doing blanket statements, but I'm going to do one anyway. They are the kind of people that tend to be okay with rough edges and figuring things out and troubleshooting things. Whereas console gamers are a little less. Now, you can argue with me if you want. I say that this is a console but it's a console that has the ability to play PC games, and that's always going to come with rough edges.
Yeah. And we've been calling it a consoleized PC for a while, and that gets the chat room really angry when we post videos like that. But it's hardware that is the same, which isn't something that you can say about a lot of PC setups. Every PC is different. Every Steam Deck is the same, other than one has a little bit of faster storage. That's really the only difference between them, which is fantastic, and it gives developers a set target to program their game for, to run at the best possible settings, resolution, frame rate for this one device, treating it very much like a console.
Absolutely. So this is to answer Kodiak's question. If you open up your quick access menu, that's the button right here. If you're looking at the Skycam, it's a button right here, just below the right trackpad with the ellipsis on it. You have all of this stuff, and this one I didn't focus on because I didn't have it for long enough to really understand everything that was here. But if I go into this and I hit overlay, this is built in. Like when all the videos, the benchmarking videos that we saw, that people were using, I thought that they had like some benchmarking software that they were using in order to get this information. This is built into the Steam Deck, so you can see exactly what's going on, and it has different levels depending on what you want to see.
The ridiculous thing is when you were going through it in your video, if you go to advanced view, I think it
Yeah.
is, the ability to do hardware limits to frame rate and
Mhm.
TDP is huge. Like, I thought you'd have to install some sort of scope software or something to do kind of like hardware limiting for that type of stuff. It's built right into the damn OS, which is about as nice as you could possibly hope for from Valve when they're setting this thing up.
Seth Maynard in chat says, "Can you install Discord and see how it works?" I can't install Discord and see how it works because Lloyd and I are talking to each other on Discord right now. So I
Right.
can't really do that. However, I have installed Discord on this, and like I logged in and it worked. And then it's a like there's a Linux version of Discord, and it was super easy to install. So it's going to work. I will say this: the Steam voice chat worked really well. I haven't tried it with headphones yet, but I did pair my my Apple headphones with it yesterday, and it works really good, really well. Sorry.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So if I want right here, like you can see that the game is running. Maybe I make this bigger. You can see that the game is running at 60 frames per second. Right under it, down at the bottom of the graph where it says game scope, it says 60 frames per second, and I'm going to hit limit to 30, and now it's automatically dropped down, and you're going to see like the projected battery life is going to change. So you can
Yeah.
see that my battery's at 80%, and actually I'm going to lower this so there's less info here. Oh, it's plugged in, so it's not gonna tell me how long it'll take, and if I unplug it, then you won't be able to see anything. So usually it tells you, it does the math for you. Right on the screen, it'll say, "You have this long before" oh, right there. Projected battery life, it says 6 hours, just right next to on the right-hand side where it says 80%, right?
Oh yeah, there it is.
It
Yeah,
keeps
yeah, yeah.
flipping back and forth between charging time and my battery life. 6 hours, 22 minutes. I'm going to set this to 60 frames per second. We'll see what happens to the battery life. That way you can
Hmm.
make that decision for yourself on whether or not you want to go with 30 frames per second or yeah, so I lost about an hour.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, the Fox put up a really great video showing this in various games, setting different resolutions. So
Mhm.
dropping the resolution to 480p, and then having the game stretch up, use FSR, and then putting the hardware frame rate limit or using the in-game frame rate limit. And he was able to take a game that was giving him 2 hours and extend that to 4 hours just by messing with these settings, which I'm sure will be easier down the road once more developers have specific targets for the Steam Deck with everything being set up optimally right out of the box. But that's crazy. Like on the Switch, you could never find how much battery life you had left
Yeah.
in terms of hours. So when the Switch first came out, I started Breath of the Wild, put the brightness up to 100%, started a timer, and played Breath of the Wild until my Switch died. And that's your scientific measurement of how long you're able to play a game. Just having that little thing pop up is just so much nicer to just give people that information so they can make as educated a guess as possible on how they want to set things up. If they have like a 2-hour car ride or a commute on a plane, okay, if I want to play through the whole flight, okay, I need to drop all this stuff down before my battery dies.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing about this little piece of information that they're giving us is that and this is like Linus in his video yesterday talked about this. He said, this is going to help sell the next Steam Deck, because they're going to be like, oh, okay, I just bought, I just got Steam Deck 2, right? And I sit down at my desk and I've got Steam Deck 1, like me as a content creator, right? I got the
Right.
first Steam Deck here. I load up Ori and the Blind Forest or whatever, and I bring up this information on the screen, and then I do the same thing on the Steam Deck 2, and
Mhm.
sure enough, I have hard data that says I will get this much better performance, this much better that, uh, extra cartwheels, and all of the cheese in France. Like, you get all of that stuff, all of that information is very, very useful for getting people to upgrade to the next version.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Jungle Urban. We don't have any Windows games to install on Windows. I'm sure Bill could at some point sideload something and try to run it using Proton. But again, Bill's had this thing for about just a little over a day, and
Yeah.
most of that time was spent sleeping. So there's not a lot of time to play with these weird edge cases, and I'm sure we'll get that done over the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, and it takes a really long time to download stuff. Like, I ran into somebody mentioned an Ethernet adapter, right? And here I've got an Ethernet adapter, and I was like, because this is one that I bought for my Switch.
Mm,
Actually, this one is one that was for the Wii U, I think, and then I used it on my Switch in order to have a more stable connection for Mario Kart or whatever.
right.
Um, I hooked this up to the Steam Deck, and this only got uh, like 100 megabits per second. Like,
Oh,
it's really slow.
so it's a
S
10/100
Yeah,
Ethernet
so this
and
is
not a
slow. So
gigabit
this
Ethernet.
this didn't make any better. This, in fact, made it worse.
Yeah.
But that's on the hardware, not on Steam Deck. But when I was downloading stuff, like, it is very slow to download. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna close this game.
Sure.
I
Let's see some of the other games that you've installed and played, because we get a lot of questions about other games that you've tried on deck. So maybe talk about some of the other stuff that you've jumped in and played.
Okay, well, I would put Final Fantasy 14 in, but I would have to type in my username and password and stuff, because you have to do that every time, and it's a giant, giant pain. I played a little bit of BioShock,
Oh
and
yeah.
that works incredibly well. This is a game that I played on my Xbox 360 back in the day,
Mhm.
and it works very, very well. I love how whenever you start a game, it pops up this little, hey, this is the way that we're going to be playing the game. Of course, you can change that if you want. Uh-oh. Wait, how do I do this? I don't have a mouse.
Can you touch the screen and just guess?
No, but
Guess where it would be?
well, because the screen's off, but I do have a
Yeah.
keyboard here.
Okay, I was like, guess where that yes button would be on your Steam
BioShock,
Deck.
default settings. Okay, yes. That's too funny.
That's funny.
Darren JP
We
says, "Can we copy games over instead of just downloading them again?" I don't know. I First off,
Yeah.
it's a Linux file system, so any SD card that you use needs to be formatted for NTFS. Otherwise, Linux couldn't see it.
NTFS is a Windows format.
Yeah, I know.
That's interesting. we have some questions about force shutdown. Can you try doing a force shutdown after you're done with Bioshock?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that don't know, I'm going to bring this up. You have your Steam button shortcuts by holding down the Steam button, and to force shutdown is a long press on B. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. And somebody was asking about the gyro, so I'll show you the gyro real quick. I am a huge fan of gyro for aiming in shooters. Huge fan. I love it. I don't like it for, I don't know, goofy things, but for aiming in a shooter, it's absolutely fantastic. And I think because this device is so wide, it makes it even better. Now, I will
Mm.
say that right now, boy, this is hard for me to see. It's really, really small. Let me get rid of my, well, no, because you guys want to be able to see that. So I'm moving it around. It's not doing anything. Put my thumb on that. And now,
Oh, that's cool.
okay, now there's a little bit of latency, but that latency is because of my capture card. And it's going like I'm watching this in our recording software. And so it's like everything that I'm doing is super kludgy and not the right way to do it. And you don't have any of those issues when you're actually using the device.
Right.
Um, but this works fantastically well. And
And
I
all
can't
these
hear
old
any.
games, all these old games in my library are gonna get such a new lease on life when this thing comes out.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that I started and never finished because of one thing or another. Like I'm easily distractible. And but the fact that I can bring these games with me is
Yeah.
incredibly cool. Oh, I did see a little bit of a hiccup there.
Yeah.
It says 60 frames per second.
When you're showing, well, as you're showing this, there's a couple questions about pre-downloading games and copying them to an SD card yourself. And while that might work, some games have specific Steam Deck code, so as part of their bundle, so you won't get that stuff on the Steam Deck if you're downloading it on your PC and trying to copy it over and just run the PC version. So um, there's probably a way around that. There's probably some way to download the Steam Deck version of a game and put it on an SD card, but none of that stuff has been figured out yet. And I'm sure that'll happen in time for people to get their own devices in their hands when their number comes up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I died just then because I didn't have any ammo. and I can't see the screen and I can't hear anything. So
So
this is
you're
not the
playing
best way to deal with it.
at peak settings for this game. 100%, everything is as good as it can be for you to have a good performance here for us, Bill.
Yeah. Um, but it feels great. Like this feels absolutely fantastic. Hold on.
What is this?
There we
We
go.
got a super chat from Alan Silva. Hey, my goal is to use the deck as my personal computer. I work as a software engineer. If I use a dock, can I connect two monitors? I believe so. We in early on when they were showing it up or showing it off rather, didn't Linus Tech Tips have two monitors connected through a hub or something?
I think I don't know if he had two, but he brought his own. Like
Right.
he had brought his own monitor and set it up and it worked just fine. And speaking of Linus Tech Tips, he is going like for the next month, this is his main computer. Like he is not
Nice.
using any other computer. Now, I would try that. I absolutely would. But as a content creator who does not have a team of editors and stuff, I can't. Like I have to use other computers in order to edit video and like I can't run OBS through this thing. I mean, I suppose that I could, but it would make for not really great content because it would be limited in so many ways. But if you're
Mm.
just like I don't know what you're doing with your computer, but like it has a desktop and if you are okay with Linux, then sure, why not?
Exactly. We're getting a lot of people asking if you can show off Stadia. I know it's kind of janky, but is that something you can quickly show off?
I can try. But first people
Oh,
asked me to
Force
try
quit.
the force quit.
Yeah, yeah. Good remembery.
Here we go.
Paradox. Have you played CS:GO on it? I'm not Bill, but I can pretty much guarantee that Bill hasn't played CS:GO on this.
No, that's not my jam. It used to be back in the day. I loved Counter Strike, but I'm not talking
Mhm.
about CS:GO. I'm talking about Counter Strike. the original Counter-Strike, like a long, long time ago. So I have not played CS:GO on it, and if I did, it would be an absolute disaster. Not has nothing to do with the Steam Deck. It has to do with me.
Mm.
All right, so Stadia. So we can try Stadia. Like I said, cloud gaming doesn't work very well on this yet. Also, like I
There's
said, slow downloads. Like
there's a oh sorry, I thought you were done.
no, it's okay. Slow downloads, and right now I'm sending video to Lloyd, and I'm sending video to you. So there's a lot happening on my computer network right now. So it
Right.
might not work very well, but I'm going to go ahead and test it for us. So first off, I think what I would want to do is go to non-Steam, and actually, I'm going to switch scenes.
Yeah, you might want to log out or disconnect the video while you punch in your passwords and stuff like that.
Hopefully it's all remembered, because I did log in with Google, but I'm just going to hide the Skycam or no, not the Skycam. Hide that for a minute.
One thing for people to note, the version of Chrome that is available on Steam Deck is there's patches that have been done to make controls work better, but they're still in an unstable branch. They haven't been promoted to stable yet. So I'm sure in the coming weeks, that'll be a thing, and there'll be a proper version of Chrome that will have full integrated controller support, similar to when Stadia was new and people were trying to get it running through iOS through a web browser. Apple had to patch their Safari framework to allow controllers to work through it, and the same thing happened for Xbox cloud streaming and stuff like that. We're just waiting for the same thing here on the Steam Deck for a better version of Chrome to come out that has built-in, baked-in support for controllers.
All right, so I've got Stadia loaded up. I'm gonna start Destiny 2.
Juan Salazar, what adapter are you using, and is the deck charging? You're using one of the Apple AV dongles, right? That has a lightning in, or USB-C in, rather?
USB-C in, yeah. It's the one that I bought it for work. I use it for my iPad so that I can, like, when I'm teaching, I can draw things on my iPad, and it goes on the TV behind me for my students.
Yep. So that's what he's using. He's using the official Apple HDMI video connector. So
right now, I'm running through the browser, right? And it says press a button or key to play. Nothing. There's no inputs that are being accepted. So I'm going to go in here to.
Does it register screen taps as a button?
It might. But first, I'm going to switch over from the gamepad with joystick, because that does not work. I'm going to switch to WASD. And now it's working. We'll see how well it works. Keep in mind, this is over Wi-Fi. Like, I probably wouldn't play Stadia or GeForce Now or anything on this, but I can absolutely see somebody playing their games on this. And then if they want to play Stadia or GeForce Now or Xbox Cloud Gaming, when you dock it to a screen, you have Ethernet there, because you definitely want to have Ethernet for that stuff. You have Ethernet there, and then it would work. All right, so we're in the game now. I'm going to open the director, and there's a lot of latency here. Again, I'm doing things on my computer network right now which are kind of nuts. Sending video all over the place. And because this is not set up for the controller inputs, I'm kludging it together to get it to work. Genshin Impact coming to deck. I have no idea. I've never played that game. The hardware is so underpowered for hardware ray tracing. Oh, that's you.
Yeah. Someone is asking, is there ray tracing drivers available yet? And it's like the max, like, what is it, 20 something watt max utilization for the CPU and GPU compared to a console or a PC that is at 200 plus watts to do ray tracing. I just can't see ray tracing ever coming to this device, even if the hardware supported it. Like, from a software standpoint, you wouldn't want to enable that, because that's just going to suck all of your battery life and not really add much on an 800p screen.
Yeah, I'm getting a stupid amount of latency right now.
Yeah, it looks pretty latent. It
Like
could just be all the other stuff that's happening right
it
now.
could be, but it also could be that it's not the right version of Chrome or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure that will come in the near future. We'll have a better version of Chrome that will support actual hardware controllers and the Steam Deck hardware buttons.
It is pretty though. I will say that.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to shut it off now. What's the next question?
Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to keep them, but they keep scrolling by so fast. Uh, I've lost them all, so we'll wait for new ones to come in. Can you try a PS2 emulator? I don't think Bill has any emulators configured with ROMs or anything like that. So,
I don't have any PS2 ROMs either.
mhm.
Like I never had a PS2, so I don't have any ROMs for it.
Show us Elden Ring.
I
Did you end
I
up picking up
I,
Elden Ring? You
I
didn't.
don't have Elden Ring. Like I thought about picking it up, but I know that it's going to be the kind of game that's it's just going to make me mad. And so like there's so much hype around it right now, and I wanted to get it.
Mm.
But I know what's going to happen is I'm going to play about 5 hours of it and say screw this game. And then I'm out $60.
You played Sekiro though, right?
I did, and I really liked that, but I think that might have had more to do with the setting than anything else. I thought that was a
Sure.
very interesting setting.
Yeah, Elden Ring looks great because it reminds me so much of Skyrim just from the huge world to explore. But yeah, it also has I hate myself gameplay built in, which is going to keep me from buying it. I think unless it's on like a super sale.
Phoenix in chat says, I've seen Divinity Original Sin in your library. How are the heavy mouse games like this on deck? I will say that this is where the Steam input shines. Let me bring this up on screen. I haven't played Divinity Original Sin on the Steam Deck yet. I installed it this morning and have not had a chance to play it.
Nice.
But I will load it up right now. Now this is, if we go down to game info, it usually will tell me something about that they're still, oh wait, maybe I had to go further. Nope. It doesn't say. All right. I'm going to load it up. I did see that in the Steam Deck press kit, there was like a video of the guy from Larian Studios talking about how his games just worked. Can I try an external SSD? I don't have an external SSD. All right, so press A to start. Now the thing is that this game is made with controllers in mind. Like you can use controllers with this. So I'm going to hit continue, and it's going to pick up where I left off on my computer, like, I don't know, 2 years ago or something.
Yeah, you in the video that Bill put out yesterday, he showed off using a Steam controller with the Steam Deck. Pairing a controller is super easy.
It is. It's just Bluetooth. And so there's Divinity Original Sin. But you can do
That's
mouse.
awesome.
I don't think that I don't know how to switch it over to mouse right now though. But this is the kind of game that I'm going to get a lot more time with because I can take it wherever I am. I can always play it wherever I go.
You play 30 minutes before bed, put the deck on your bedside table to charge, and slowly make your way through games like this. I think that's going to be a huge use case for a lot of people.
Can you Diablo 2? I don't have Diablo 2 remake. Sorry. But I don't know if it'll play or not. That's not on Steam. That being said, I mean, who was it? Bethesda just said we're ditching our launcher and we're moving our games to Steam. And Microsoft has been running their games on Steam, like Halo and Forza. And Microsoft is, they're trying to buy Activision Blizzard. And I don't think that they'll get rid of the Activision Blizzard launcher, but I would not be
Yep.
surprised to see them put those games on Steam just because it makes them look good. If they're trying
Yes.
to, if they, it makes, I'm not saying that they're doing it because they're trying to do what's right. They're doing it because they want to make sure that the government does not come after them. So I can see them putting World of Warcraft, Diablo, and all that stuff on Steam, but that's a year in advance because it's going to be a long time before that happens.
Exactly. Gears in the chat room. Does FSR built-in make most games run at 60, or is it not good Steam Deck CPU bound? Well, it all depends on your settings, Gears. There's a lot of videos out there where people are enabling FSR, turning FSR off, going down in resolution, going up in resolution, letting the game figure it out. It's going to kind of depend on a game by game basis, I think. Some games will perform better at native resolution with all the bells and whistles turned up than others where you'll have to drop the native resolution, enable FSR, and maybe limit to 30 frames a second. So the nice thing is you have this control on Steam Deck where you don't have that on a Nintendo Switch. You start a game on Nintendo Switch and the game starts and it runs the one way that it's ever going to run. There's no way to change that. In Steam Deck, you have the ability to go down in resolution, go down in frame rate, go down in graphical settings to make things run better, which is great.
Yeah, and I'm starting up Monster Hunter again, not because I want to play it, but because, well, I do, but because I know that you can adjust. Like, there's some games where you can't adjust the resolution for some reason. I think maybe you have to do it in the launcher, but I know that you can adjust that stuff on the fly in Monster Hunter. So what I'm going to do, it's currently running at 1280 by 800, the default resolution for this device. I'm going to
Mhm.
lower the resolution and then turn on FSR and show you guys how it looks, keeping in mind
Perfect.
that the RE engine is friggin' fantastic. And I don't need to do this, but let me
Yep.
bring up my quick access menu.
Um, Black Panther T'Challa Lem, in desktop mode, do games run at 1080p or 800p? Well, in desktop mode, whatever your desktop is set to will be how things will run, unless the game sets a custom resolution. So your hardware isn't going to get any better, though. So if you're trying to run a game that doesn't play well at 800p and then you want to play it at 1080p or 4K, that's going to be a problem. So yeah, I can't see desktop mode being a huge thing that people are going to use for gaming, unless it's like old 4X games where you want like a huge screen real estate and you just don't want to boot up your PC to load up Civilization or some of the other games like that.
Sean McDonald says, "Do I think that the Steam Deck will bring more people to PC gaming because of the ease of accessibility of the deck?" Um,
I I
Maybe
think
it'll get more people to play on this,
yeah.
but I don't know if that's going to translate into people going out and building a PC. You know what I mean? Because if you want to get into PC gaming, there is a barrier to entry. And that barrier to entry is either spending a bunch of money or putting it together yourself and knowing what you're doing. And a lot of
Yeah.
people either don't want to spend a bunch of money or they don't want to learn everything that they have to learn in order to build a PC. I know the bare minimum. Back in the day, I knew everything that I needed to know. These days, I know the bare minimum because I don't keep up. Um, so I don't think that you're going to suddenly like create a bunch of people that are going to be out there, figuring out what the best mip maps are or whatever. But you're going to see a lot of people who buy this thing for $400 and play games on it.
You're gonna find a lot of people that were introduced back to gaming because of the Nintendo Switch, because they wanted a handheld that was bigger, they wanted a bigger screen because they're older or whatever. Maybe don't want to play on phones, they wanted a device, they got a Nintendo Switch, and now they're seeing that the games that are running on the Nintendo Switch don't look as good as some of the other consoles. And then the Steam Deck comes out and it's like, hey, this is a system that is very much like the Nintendo Switch, and it's going to play games at a higher resolution by default for anything new coming out. Maybe this is something to check out. So I think you're going to get some people that are console gamers that are still going to treat PC gaming as a console through the Steam Deck. I don't know the percentage of those people that are then going to install Steam on their PC and start gaming on their PC, because a lot of people just like sitting on a couch with a controller in their hand. But I do think that between Switch and the Steam Deck, there's going to be a lot of commonality from their customer base.
All right. So while Lloyd was explaining that, I lowered the resolution from the default resolution down to 540p, and then I turned on FSR in order to try and do some scaling. Now, if you look at the quick access menu, I always do that. If you look at the quick access menu, come down here, you can change the FSR sharpness.
Mm.
I don't know how much that's coming through on the stream because I'm sure the YouTube compression is destroying the, like,
Sure.
making everything soft and getting rid of that. But honestly, like right now, my battery, I come up here. Oh, look at that. Oh, projected charging time. Okay. Switch over. So it says that I got like an hour, 50 minutes of battery life
Okay.
with these settings. Now, if I want, I'm going to switch that to 30 frames per second. We'll give it a chance to think about it for a little bit. And it should flip back over. I wish it showed both of those things on the screen. There's room.
The waiting for text to swap over.
Oh, there we go. 3 hours,
Oh,
9
yeah.
minutes. So I just got like an hour.
An extra hour just by dropping the resolution, putting FSR on, and dropping the frame rate limit to 30. Like that's, you don't have that control with any other portable other than like other PC portables. But I'm talking about like the Vita, the PSP, the DS, the Nintendo Switch. This is not something you could ever do.
Yeah. It's just so fantastic. And I'm
We
going to
got a
go
couple
back.
more super chats.
Okay.
Luco Tiburon says, is Valve making a more or a new Steam controller? Valve hasn't announced anything about a new Steam controller. So if you want a new Valve Steam controller, you're going to have to buy the Steam Deck and use it as a new Valve Steam controller on that one device. They have not said anything about making new Steam controllers.
Man, I really hope that they do. But like, I don't know how they can cram all of the stuff that they have crammed into the Steam Deck into something a controller size. That's the thing. Like there's always trade-offs. When you're talking about this, you have trade-offs that you have to deal with. And how are they going to fit 2 thumbsticks, a D-pad, and 2 pads on something that can be this form factor?
Yeah.
That's really tough. And people will say, well, you just take out the screen and put the 2 sides together. But then you have to remember that you have a body between your arms, and your elbow is not, like, you can't put your elbows together in order to do it. So then you have to have it more of a wing shape, which is why most controllers have that wing shape, is so that your elbows aren't trying to be forced together. I don't know if
Exactly.
ergonomically they can do it, but I hope that they can.
Yeah. Marius Catalan in the chat room, can it be bought entirely with a Steam wallet?
I believe so.
Yes, it can. If you load up $500 in your Steam wallet and you get the email to go buy yours, it will draw from your Steam wallet before any other funding sources if you want.
Gene Golden in chat says, I would try to dual boot Windows and Steam OS, and that's why I wanted the 512. And I can understand that. Right now, I would not buy a piece of hardware in the hopes that they're going to make it right later. We still don't have graphic drivers for Windows, which is why you haven't seen anybody showing off Windows stuff on it. Once those graphics drivers come out for Windows, then I'm sure that the Fox and LTT and all those guys will do. I'm probably not going to install Windows on mine. I'm probably going to leave mine as default, the way that Valve intended. I'm doing that with quotes in case you weren't looking at me at the time. And I think that that's probably good enough for me. That's the kind of gamer that I am. Lloyd's going to install Windows though.
Yeah, on the other hand, I'm the gearhead, I'm the IT guy, so I want to play with all the different scoping software. I want to install Linux utilities to see what the hardware is doing. Like there's so much stuff that I want to do, and install games and play games, of course, because it is a gaming device. But a lot more of the techie content will unfortunately come when I have my Steam Deck, which will probably be June, May. it'll be a while, unfortunately, because I'm Q2. I have a Q2 pre-order time or whatever.
I've seen some people in chat asking about Steam Link. So I'm not going to run it right now because obviously I have a thousand things happening on my network and it probably would be kind of crap. That being said, I did try it. I was disappointed. Um, I was really disappointed because if I come into, let's see, what's a game that I know that I have installed. So I know that I have Monster Hunter installed. I'm not going to play it, but if I go over here and click on that, I can say play it on my computer instead, and then
Mm,
it's streaming from my computer to this. And I was really hopeful for it because I've been using Moonlight on my Shield TV Pro and streaming games from my PC to that. Now, I've always had problems with Steam Link. Even I have two Steam Links, actual hardware little set top boxes that plug into your HDMI port on your PC. I have two of them. Both of them work terribly. I've never had a good experience with them. And I just thought that that's the way it was going to be. Then I tried Moonlight because some people in chat, not today, obviously, but other days, some people in chat said, "Hey, try this out." And I was blown away by how friggin' well it works. So I was very excited to try Steam Link on here, and it was really ugly looking. Like it did not look very good. And I think what they're doing is they're rendering it at 720p and sending it to me. Like I think that the game runs at 720p or 800p or whatever on my PC instead of upresing it or something. So it didn't look very good. I have not figured out. I haven't tried to install Moonlight on here. I am going to try and install Moonlight and see if that's better because in
mm,
on my particular network, Moonlight is better than Steam Link. Steam Link is just built in though, and it's much
right.
easier to use.
Right. Thanks for reminding me. I just installed Moonlight on my Shield TV Pro because I kept meaning to do it and I keep forgetting. So that was a good reminder for me.
VRPG Productions. What happens if you try and start an unsupported game? I haven't installed any unsupported games because I thought that it's a big waste of time. I installed a bunch of unknown games and some of them work and some of them don't. So I came down here to Ziggurat, which is a really fantastic, fast-paced shooter. And when you start it up, watch, it'll work this time, I bet. I've tried it with launch native libraries, whatever the hell that means, and play Ziggurat. I've tried both ways. I get the same results both times. Here's what you're going to see. It launches, and it doesn't know what resolution to use.
Mm.
So you can
Oh,
see,
wow.
like, it's trying to use like 4K as its resolution or something, and I can't play it,
Mm.
and I can't find any way to change it. So then I just kill the game. So
Does that happen when you don't have the external
yeah.
video connected? Oh, so that's just part of the game, unfortunately.
Well, here, I'll just to make sure, because I think I tried it like that. I'll switch over to Skycam.
Mm.
And yes, I call it the Skycam, and you guys can laugh at me. I don't care. All right. So there's Ziggurat. I'm going to hit play. And we'll see how it works. It's going to do the same thing, I think, though. I'm going to turn that off, though. Yeah, see?
Wow, that's really weird. And I wonder if there's going to be a way, like in the future, to fix that. Like if Valve can put in a mode where if the game is trying to display at a higher resolution, it'll allow that, but then it will automatically take that higher resolution and just scrunch it down to 800p.
It would. So would that be like if you're trying to run a game at 4K on this device, it's going to run like garbage. So that would be a
For sure.
that wouldn't be a
For sure.
good, like they should make it so that when you go to start it, it won't go to a higher resolution than you can actually go.
Yeah, but the issue here is if a game is forcing 4K for whatever reason, you can't even get into the settings to drop it down. But if you scrunch down a bigger resolution game, you could then get into
The settings.
the settings and do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm surprised that if you force stuff using GameScope, it doesn't drop that down. But this is going to be a learning process for developers and also Valve as they have a bunch of weird use cases. Um, that they need to program for or address, and things will get better over time. Which is why, as Bill said, there's OS updates every day as they're getting ready for the 1.0 or 3.0, I guess, because it's Steam OS 3.0 release for when actual customers get their Steam Decks in like a week or whatever.
So how do I change the? You said that there was a way to change these things in
Not
GameScope.
not from there. I think there, at least it doesn't look like there's a way to do it from there. There's ways using different Linux apps to kind of like force
Oh,
resolutions and things like that. Without being able to play with it myself, I don't even know where you would have to go.
yeah. Can you set borderless window mode? I mean, maybe. Why would you want to? It's not like, is there a reason that you would want to? I would think that you would just want everything to be full screen.
Yeah. Leandro, sorry, Serencio. Can you try FSR? We've done FSR, or Bill's, sorry, enabled FSR a bunch of times during this
Yeah,
video.
if you just rewind until you see Monster Hunter, you'll
Mhm.
see FSR because you can. This isn't on Twitch, so you can rewind. So just rewind, watch FSR stuff, and then come back to this point and put it in fast forward mode. And Lloyd and I will talk real fast until you catch up with us.
A lot of people are saying FSR is going to scale for your screen. Yes, but FSR isn't automated unless the game itself supports FSR. So you have to manually go into the game and drop your resolution and then enable FSR to then scale up. If a game natively supports FSR, it can determine, okay, I want to do 540p, upscale it to 800p using FSR. You can tell that a game supports that when the UI is at native resolution. So your UI will still be 800p, even though the game itself is 500p being upscaled to 800p. When you don't do that, if you're using the FSR switch that Bill played with earlier, and you scale your game down, all of the UI will have little artifacts and things like that because the UI with hard edges doesn't scale up as nicely as some of the in-game assets that they're used to using FSR for.
Mm-hmm. So somebody asked a little bit ago for me to show off the trackpad, so I'm going to do that real quick. But I will say that this, playing with my hands like on the desk like this, is very uncomfortable for like using the trackpad and using the gyroscope because there's always like my hands are hitting. So this is not the best way to do it, but I'll show you. Now, real quick, look at Half-Life 2. This is not what it used to look like. They updated it for
Yeah.
controllers, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'll go ahead and load in the game. All right. And I can't hear anything. And so I think in this scene, they're telling Gordon to go do stuff. Oh no, this is when what's her name goes on a teleporter. All right. So I'm trapped in this room. So this is
Alex.
yeah, this is not the best demo for this, but you can see the trackpad and then there's the gyro.
And look at your health and suit text at the bottom. It's actually readable. I was worried that that would be so incredibly tiny on the deck, but they've definitely come up and updated all that stuff.
Yeah, and when I used the Steam controller, I was that guy that it was like, I never want to use a joystick again. That's not the case anymore. Now that I have access to the joystick and the touchpads, I like to
Mhm.
use the joystick for you like doing the camera and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
they also have, and I have not used this yet. Let me try this out. Um,
While you're setting that up, there's a quick question in the chat room. Andrew Manning, have you tried using other game stores like Origin, Ubisoft, or Epic?
Not yet.
Bill has not had a chance to do that yet because he just had it for, like I said, just over a day. So that stuff will come later, I'm sure.
So, the right joystick behavior, I think that you can set it up to be flick stick, which I've never
Mhm.
used, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it as being awesome. I don't see it in here.
Yeah, camera's flick stick.
Where? Oh, there it is.
Down four. Yeah, there you go.
All right. So what this does, and this is crazy, and I'm not going to be good with it, is if I push down, oh, it's not doing what I thought it would.
Hit backwards real fast.
No,
Go like hit down real fast. It should flip your camera around 180.
maybe I didn't save it.
Maybe.
Edit layout, joysticks, camera. Oh yeah, I didn't. What? Camera as flick stick. Hey. Oh, it's not letting me change it.
That's weird.
It's really weird. I wonder if
That's
it's
really weird.
because they designed the, like, they're like this. They're playing a Nintendo here, and they're like, this is how you do it.
That is really weird. That is really weird. A bunch of people are asking how much usable space your deck has. Bill has the 512 model, but he's installed a bunch of stuff.
I have.
So that probably won't give you the info that you really want.
Oh
But
yeah, I will. I'll go to the storage.
didn't Valve say the OS is like 4 gigs or something, or something like that, or 8 gigs? I can't remember exactly what it was of storage, and then the rest should be usable space.
So the internal drive, so it's a 5, this is the 512, and the free space was 465.3 gigabytes. And currently I have 128 gigs free, and I have, whoops.
Liam, they really need to fix these bugs. Well, the hardware isn't out yet. This is pre-release software and pre-release hardware. The Steam Deck hasn't started shipping yet.
Which bug?
The flick stick thing and other things that you're running into.
I don't know if that's a bug or if they have decided that's what you're going to use for this game because they designed the hardware and they designed the game. But I could be wrong. I have no idea. I'll try flick stick on another game in a minute. Like, look at all these are huge games that I have installed on here. 23 gigs, 49 gigs, 27 gigs, 22 gigs, 14. Like, I've got all these games installed on here. I still have tons of room, and I haven't touched my SD card.
Yeah. And that's the amazing thing about this is SD card runs almost as fast as internal memory. So if you only got a 64 or a 256, like, you just put a big SD card, and your experience won't be that much worse than if it was running off internal storage, which is fantastic.
Lloyd?
I know, I saw that, and I'm very, very angry at you.
What are you angry for? I'm showing you how great it is.
But it's not in my hands. If it was in my hands, I'd be happy. Right now, I'm melancholy watching it on the screen because it's not in my hands.
Speaking of in your hands, this is an issue. Look at this. There's no way to interact with the game. And because my screen's off, I can't, like, I've had to do this a couple times.
You have to tap it?
I have to tap play.
That's hilarious.
And I think it's because it's a launcher.
Wookie Mart, will any SD card work? Well, SD cards have speed. There's multiple ratings. There's like 4 different types of things about SD cards that tell how much speed it has, how fast the writes are, how fast the reads are. You probably just want to get like a newer SanDisk, and they'll be fine. You don't have to worry about you don't have to get too far into the weeds trying to figure out which one you want. Just pick up whatever's on Amazon, get a 256 gig SanDisk, and you'll be fine. It'll be plenty fast enough.
So Mosquito in chat solved the issue for us. I was editing the vehicle controls, not the other controls. That's the reason why. So I'll try and do flick stick in this.
Yeah.
All right.
They just added that to Fortnite across all the different platforms, and it's huge if you're a controller player. It makes things so much easier.
Well, have you used it yet?
Yeah, I have. So like flick the stick backwards really fast, and it should rotate the camera around. It's not doing that.
it. What is wrong here?
That's weird.
Edit layout.
Save?
Joysticks. Right joystick behavior is flick stick.
Weird. Maybe flick stick in this setting doesn't mean quite what flick stick means in other settings.
Yeah. Well, because it was made by like this.
if you keep your finger on the capacitive touch panel on the thing and then pop it back real fast, does like make sure that you have your thumb on the capacitive thing?
Nothing.
No,
Let me
nothing.
unhook it real quick. So hey, if you guys know how to get Flickstick working, feel free to tell us.
Mosquito's solving your problems again. Skyrim won't play nice with Flickstick because it requires mouse control, but Skyrim locks out keyboard and mouse control when using gamepad controls.
Forgot that. Yes. Oh my God.
Right.
Skyrim. See, you know what? There's always going to be these issues that we're going to run into when it comes to games on the Steam Deck, and the reason is because it's a console. I'm going to keep calling it a console, and you guys can send your hate mail to idon'tcare@bill.com. But it's a console. The issue is that when you play a game on a console, every console game was made with that console in mind. And these PC games were not made with the Steam Deck in mind. We're forcing them to play that way, even though they're not designed for that. So Mosquito has like the eyes of an eagle to see all of the mistakes that I'm making. So thank you for that. I will go back to, what was that? Half-Life 2 and give this another try.
Nico's saying Skyrim, why? Well, because it's one of the best games ever made. That's why.
Yeah, Skyrim's awesome, man. All right, where am I here? What other questions do we have?
Can you test split screen with another controller? I don't know. Do you have any games that would have split screen on it? Can't even think of
even if I did, I wouldn't have them installed yet, and it takes
a while.
It takes a really long time to download games. All right, while we're doing that, let's get in-game controls. Yes, that's what I want. Controller. Edit layout. Okay. In-game controls. I'm on the in-game controls this time.
Yep.
Joysticks. Right joystick. Camera.
Camera as flick stick.
No.
It doesn't save. Weird.
I wonder why that is. That's so weird. All right.
Huh. Something to play with off cam and figure out. Oh, Nico, I get what you're saying. I thought you were throwing Skyrim shade because that inevitably happens whenever Skyrim comes up.
Oh, they're saying why Skyrim?
Not why Skyrim, but why Skyrim? Yeah. I have the emphasis, the mental emphasis going in my brain on the wrong word. My bad.
That's funny. Is Wii emulation possible on the Steam Deck? I have no idea.
People say it works.
I saw people playing the Switch emulation. I don't condone emulating modern consoles. I am perfectly fine emulating old stuff, especially when Nintendo does backwards nonsense that stops people from giving them money for video games. But when it comes to playing a Switch game, you should just have a Switch, in my opinion. And I know that there's ways, like there's people who do it legally. They are the minority. Most people who are emulating games on like Switch games, they're going out and stealing them, and that's a different thing.
Exactly. Dominic is saying, what does the magnifier do? So Bill showed that off in his video yesterday, but maybe we can show it off right now super quick.
I bet you, you know what? I bet you it doesn't work when it's
in the UI.
Yeah. Not just that, but I bet you it doesn't work when it's plugged in.
Oh, right.
We'll test that in a second. Well, actually, here. Yeah, it doesn't work in the UI.
JHF Noah. If I download Windows, do I lose the Steam interface? No, you would install Windows on like an SD card or something. You'd have a different partition for Windows, and then on boot up, you can choose which partition to boot.
Yeah, and the thing about Windows is that like there's a lot of things that Valve has done on here to make things work. Mm-hmm. And all of that stuff will not be there on the Windows version. Now, will they add that stuff to Steam? I have no idea. I would if I were them, but I don't know if it's going to work.
Yep. Yeah, everybody asking about Windows. Valve hasn't submitted the driver bundles for the Steam Deck, so there's no GPU drivers, so you can't really get video when Windows tries to install, other than like the default VGA or something. Obviously, not what you'd want to play games.
All right, so here I am in Stardew Valley, and if I want to zoom in, I can just hold the Steam button, hit the left button, and then I can use the right trackpad in order to look around and see things just a little bit bigger. So if you're having
That's
trouble
great.
reading this stuff up here, that's awesome. Now somebody asked, is there a way to um change the zoom scale? I can't find it. I can't find if there's a way to do that. Maybe under accessibility options.
Can you pinch to zoom on the trackpad?
I did try pinching to zoom on the screen. That
Yeah,
doesn't do anything.
it
So
was
if
a
I
joke.
could,
Just because it's such a small interface, a small place for your thumb to go, pinching to zoom on the trackpad.
um, well, I don't see accessibility options. Controller, keyboard, friends, downloads, family, remote play, storage, home, library. Is there no place for accessibility options? General?
Maybe general.
Oh, that's weird. Is it under display? Wow. That's not a good thing.
But Rasper in the chat room, killing Virtual Console doesn't really mean much because you can still get those games on many different platforms. People that are downloading the latest Nintendo Switch software and not buying the cartridge, that's the issue that Bill and I are talking about.
Yeah. I don't. You know
Not
what?
the old stuff.
You wanna play NES Zelda on your PC? I don't care. That's fine. I would prefer that you buy your subscription in Nintendo Switch or whatever, or that's fine too. But it's really just stealing brand new games, because if you steal brand new games, then those developers don't make the money that they need to make in order to make the next brand new game.
Exactly. Is it possible to play music in the background while playing Spotify, Tidal, or YouTube Music? I don't even know how you would do that. You would probably have to do that in the desktop mode, I would think.
Yeah. Well, you can do a PWA, or no, there's an app on I can't remember what it's called.
I'm just wondering if when you boot a game on the Steam OS, would it kill any other process that's running to not take up the cycles? Maybe not, because it is a PC. Maybe that would run.
Yeah, so oh, you know what? It does let multiple things run at the same time. So I'm going to go to the library. I
Music.
can't play music though,
Oh yeah,
because we'll get
for
we'll get a claim. So,
right.
oh, no, I can go to Stream Beats.
Hmm.
Let me just take this. Oh, that's fine. And we'll go to YouTube. And we'll go Stream Beats. My keyboard is not working. Oh, there we go. I'll get some music going. Videos. This is so hard to do. All right.
Yeah, people are saying you could just play video from Nerd Nest in the background.
Yeah, but we'd be talking. Oh,
That would be
I
great.
can't hear anything.
Oh yeah, of
I
course.
forgot.
Of
There's no
course.
audio coming out here.
Right. You'd have to
So
unplug the video.
yeah. Well, I would have to have audio does not go out of this device at all for
Yeah.
some reason. So I would have to plug in something into the headphone jack.
Right. Or you could just unplug the video capture and just have the built-in speakers show that it is working. But yeah, other people have done that and totally forgot that is an option. It would be nice if it was part of the OS, like if you could just hit the Steam button or to pull out the right hand slider and just go down to audio and enable it, because that was one of the big feature that people loved about PlayStation, was the ability to play Spotify and stuff right on it. Personally, I never do that. It's not, I don't like listening to other things that interfere with the game that I'm playing. If anything, I'd listen to a podcast on my phone or something if I was playing. But yeah, it is possible, and for people that want to do it, you can definitely do it.
I'm trying it on the unplugged so we can see. Ugh. Tiny little touch screen. Any other questions while I'm...
Let's see. Power bank. Have you tried any sort of external batteries?
No.
It would just run it, like the UI would be the exact same. It would just say that your device is charging. And then you could figure out how long it's going to last just by looking at the draw and how big your power bank is and do the mental math. But yeah, it would definitely work through USB-C. You can definitely provide power to the deck that way.
It's working. I'm playing music and the game at the same time. It's
there you go.
Oh, and look.
Can you swap to
I gotta turn this down. It's a very irritating sound.
Can you swap to
yes.
Skycam real quick?
So if you look right here, it says Stardew Valley and Google Chrome are both running.
Nice.
So if I tap on Google Chrome, it goes back.
Did you know that you have a Did you know that you have a Slinky on your desk, Bill?
I always have a Slinky on my desk. I always do. I sit there and while I'm talking.
Fidget toy.
Yeah. So yeah, they both run, and so I can go ahead and close that one. So that means it's got to be pretty easy to go back and forth between a game and Discord.
Yeah, you would think so, right?
Right. So if I would go into desktop mode, which I'm going to do that right now. Let me exit this game. I'm going to go back into desktop mode. And I'm going to add Discord to Steam as a non-Steam application. We'll see if it shows up in the... What's the word I'm looking for? In the Steam UI. Because I am not going to use this UI to do anything, except for I'll do it for figuring things out, but it's not going to be the way that I usually use things.
Yeah. People are saying, can you have two games running at the same time, like Cookie Clicker and another game both running at the same time?
I got a sorry, I'm looking for my shoes because I kicked them off. I had a game that I was starting. I don't remember what it was, and I didn't realize that I still had one running, and it tells you, hey, you shouldn't do this. But it doesn't stop you. You can do it. I was like, oh yeah, close the other game. So yeah. I would assume you can. Yeah,
that's awesome, actually. Was it Gabe that said it during one of his interviews, or one of the engineers? I can't remember who said it, but he's like, it's a PC. If you want to do stupid things that's going to make your experience bad, we're fully going to let you do it, but we hope that you're going to use it to play games. Yeah. Something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along those lines. So it doesn't surprise me that it works, even though no one's ever going to want to play that way.
All right. So I just installed Discord, and I'm swapping back to or I didn't just install Discord. I just added Discord to Steam, so that you wouldn't have to flip back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Yuzi, what other apps can you download? What about mobile games? Well, it is Linux, so I'm sure there'll be some sort of packet manager that will allow you to, or package manager rather, that will allow you to install various other things to run. I'm not sure if they're going to run like a mobile game will run like it's running on a phone or a tablet using the touchscreen, but people are going to mess around with this stuff forever. Having a more open OS, allowing people to put other things in it's going to be huge. There's going to be new news like every week about new stuff that is possible on the deck. It's going to be great, which is going to make the podcast fantastic.
So I can't do this because it wants me to use the QR code. I don't know my password.
Oh
It
yeah,
wants me to use
and
the
you want
QR code, and this camera right here is my phone.
and you and you want to make sure to hide the QR code so no one's clicking on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or scanning it. I guess you don't click on a QR code, but you know what I
Although
mean.
that wouldn't do anything. I could just log back out then, because that would just log
Mhm.
them in on the Steam Deck.
Right.
Right. And then I could send out a bunch of spam as them. Take that, you jerks.
uh, Jaco Gerber, dudes, I could talk you through the Epic launcher install if you let me. I'm sure we could figure that out. Getting the launcher installed isn't a huge deal. It's just doing it live on camera is a problem.
What other questions do you guys have? Could I try OSU laser? I don't know what that is, so probably not. You can play your favorite game and run the cheat code on in the background. I don't know what that means.
You could be running cheat software in the background while your game is running, just
Ew,
like
get
you
out
can
of
on
here.
PC.
Cheaters are lame. I hate cheaters. Have you tried using a stylus on the deck? No, the only stylus I have is this, which is the Apple stylus, and it doesn't work like other styluses do. Most other styluses are absolutely terrible. This one's amazing, but it
Right.
has to go with an iPad. So,
Right.
have I tried watching Netflix? I have not, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. Why it wouldn't work?
Yeah, all that stuff should work because it is a regular version of Google Chrome that's running. It just doesn't have the controller functionality in because it's not a stable branch yet, which I'm sure will happen before people that put in their purchases already get their decks in their hands. I'm sure that will be sorted out before then.
Somebody, I lost who it was, but they asked if you could type with the touchpads like you can with a Steam controller. No, when you bring up a keyboard, it's the keyboard for Steam OS, and that's the way it works. And it doesn't have the weirdo, which I'm not saying it's a bad. I'm just saying it's weird, and it's weird. But it doesn't have the weird Steam controller layout, which I always think I'm gonna like, and I can never get used to it.
Yep. People are asking, how was the haptic feedback? Linus said it wasn't the best.
I feel like it's fine. It's not as intense as the it's not as in okay, so let me talk about the haptics, because this is I think important. Haptics are incredibly important when this is your camera. They're incredibly important when this is your camera. But when you're using a thumbstick as the camera, not as important. Like, I turned it off. I always had the haptics on high on this. In fact, this surprised me. Games that I had a Steam controller layout for when I started them tried to kludge the Steam controller layout onto my Steam Deck. And so I had my right trackpad, which is the right stick on this device. Sorry, I'll point it down here. On this device was giving haptic feedback. And then when I used it on my Steam Deck, I got haptic feedback, which was terrible. It was a bad experience. You really only want to have haptics on the touchpads or on Gyro. And I'll say that this is a lot more intense. This is less necessary, I feel like, because you're not using it for that.
Right.
Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm answering the question.
I think so. A couple other questions. Oh yeah, no one's testing this, and this is my one chance to ask. Stardew Valley is split screen co-op. I want to see if it works with the deck controls as player 1 and an external controller as player 2.
Perfect question. All right. I did not know that this was a split screen game. Somebody asked earlier about split screen, and I said, I don't have anything that's split screen. So we'll launch it and we'll see what happens.
And while it's loading, can you do a size comparison with the Steam controller, please? Well, it kind of is a size. They're like right beside each other on the little tiny video.
There you go.
It's the Steam controller fits nicely in the screen.
Yes, it does. I'm not going to install Heroic Games Launcher right now. I might do it in the future. So make sure you subscribe and come back for that video at some other time.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think I'll be playing Desk Job when it comes out? Absolutely. That game looks awesome and it's free. So did you see that, Lloyd?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, Valve makes really good games.
They
Shocker.
do.
I just wish they'd do it more often. Okay. So I'm going to go to co-op. And I don't see split screen as an option here.
Co-op.
Yeah, I went to co-op.
And
I only have join LAN game or enter invite. Host?
Just, yeah, go to host and just start game. Host new farm. That's weird. Oh, there it is.
I don't care about all this. The okay is grayed out.
If you have to put in name and a farm name and all that stuff. You can also click the skip intro thing on the screen as well. Michael Muir, co-op was never split screen on Star for PC.
Oh, okay. That makes sense because most people don't play that way on PC.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a game I've played on PC that has 2 players on the same screen. Make sure farm is 2-player. Where do you do that? Yeah, I'm not seeing all that.
Hold on. Let me switch to my mouse.
People are saying it is split screen on PC.
All right, well, we're trying it. Cabin layout nearby. Money shared. Where's the thing to skip an intro? Oh, there it is. And does any of this crap matter? I don't think so.
Yeah, not super.
My name is Biol. But I didn't
see how it goes.
I didn't make a we didn't make a character for the second person.
Connect to game
look,
session.
There's an invite code. People are going to join. I'm going to close this. I don't even know how to close this.
Sonic the Hedge Fund 2. That's interesting. Cuphead is co-op on PC. Oh.
Yeah, but that's not split screen. I think they wanted to know what split screen was going to be like.
Lego Worlds is co-op split screen. I don't know if is Lego Worlds even supported. I don't think
even own that game. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to help you out with the split screen. If there's a split screen game that you guys can see, you can see right now I'm using the Steam controller to control this, though. Mm-hmm. I have always had bad experiences on PC. Oh, Rocket League. Do I have that installed?
Kodiak says start a game, advanced options, enable split screen co-op. Oh, so you have to go to the advanced options when you're starting a game, when you're creating a new game.
Oh, in Stardew?
Yeah. So
okay.
there was that little wrench. I think you have to click that little wrench before
I'll try it.
World.
Yeah, I don't have Rocket League installed, it looks like. Oh, what's this? This is new. I've never seen this. Right now, Steam Input is translating your external controller for Stardew Valley. This means you may not see controller glyphs that match your controller.
Interesting.
If you know Stardew Valley has native support for your specific controller, you can turn off Steam Input in the control settings in the game. Okay, that's cool. I don't have Helldivers though. As I was saying a minute ago, splits like multiplayer, local multiplayer on PC, I've always had issues with. Like my son and I would try and play a game, and like both controllers would control player one, like that kind of thing, and we'd be like, it would just be so frustrating that I would just give up.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna do a new game.
Ben Deem, Lego Star Wars and all the Lego games have split screen. Yeah, but I have a bunch of those in my library, and none of them are showing up on either with a green check or a yellow question mark. It's just they just don't show up at all. They probably just haven't been tested yet.
Yeah, I think that I have a Lego game that's that shows up as.
Don't hit OK.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Here, yeah. No, it doesn't show up. Advanced game options. Is it maybe down a little bit? Oh yeah, there it is.
Multiplayer options.
Down.
Starting cabins 2. Sure, whatever.
No, it doesn't show up.
There's maybe nothing about split screen. All right.
They're saying Portal 2 has split screen co-op,
Oh,
but
it
I don't
does.
think
Oh,
you
I
have
don't
that.
have it installed. Well, I can show you how slow it is to download stuff
Hmm.
because it is ridiculously slow.
Oh, really, Ben? Some of them are playable. I went to my your library on deck page just earlier today, and I don't see any Lego games in my library. Maybe I have the ones that aren't supported for some strange reason.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Great on Deck, and I thought I saw Lego something in here earlier, but I'm not seeing it now. All games. You can filter it. I'm going to go for filtered and playable, and we'll see if there's a Lego game in here. Lego, 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 my Ego? I don't see it. I thought for sure that I saw it. Anyway, so people were saying, what game?
Portal 2.
Portal 2. Let's see how big Portal 2 is. That'll determine whether or not. So Portal 2, 12 gigs, and then Rocket Cars, supersonic rocket powered battle. What is it?
What was it?
Supersonic
Yeah.
acrobatic rocket powered battle cars. Okay, so we'll go with
Yeah.
Portal 2 because it's a smaller game. If I can, I know it's alphabetic.
Right at the top.
Oh. All right, install. I played it back on the 360 actually.
Yeah, Orange Box was such a huge value.
Now, keep in mind, I am sending video all over the place, downloading video from Lloyd, receiving video from YouTube. But this is, so right now it's saying 40 megabits per second. I have gigabit internet. So it should be fast, but it's not fast. Now, I know I'm on Wi-Fi. I did a speed test, and it was giving me like, on here, it was like 100. My phone was getting like 200. So it's definitely slower. You say that's not really slow at all? It is when you're trying to download Destiny 2 for no reason.
What is it coming down at?
61 megabits per second.
61, is it MB? Yeah, MB lower B, right?
Yeah, lower B. I switched that over from, because like Steam prefers to do things in megabytes per second. So I switched it over to megabits per second because that's how I think.
Yep.
DJ is saying Wi-Fi sucks. The dock will compensate. Yes. And honestly, I think that the dock is going to definitely be something that you want. You guys are saying 61's not bad. I think 61's terrible. When I have I have gigabit and I have really good Wi-Fi in my house, it should be like 200 megabits per second.
Yeah, but it has to come from Valve servers, and they can only push out so much data
They should push it faster
without destroying their data centers from everybody downloading, right? So I mean that's pretty good as far as download speeds for a console,
I guess. I'm a complainer. What other questions do we have while we're waiting for this to install so we can do split screen craziness?
Tacker, how viable do you think the Steam Deck is as a desktop PC? Well, if you like a Linux desktop, it will run like a Linux desktop. You can run any software that will run on Linux on this thing. Playing it as a game would be playing a game on it, would be less good than playing on the Steam Deck when it's not in desktop mode, just because of the resolution stuff. But yeah, a lot of people are doing it, and as Bill said earlier in the stream, what was it? Linus Tech Tips is doing a full month of only using the Steam Deck as his PC.
Yeah, which is nuts. I will say this: like, it depends on what you're doing. How are you using it as a PC? That's the big question. What you're getting value for money is really good. Like,
Yeah.
this is pretty powerful hardware for the price of $400 and, you
Yeah.
know, a big SD card.
I know one of my colleagues at work, he bought one of those Raspberry Pi keyboards that the Raspberry Pi team was selling. That comes with a Raspberry baked into it. It has a place for a mouse, and it's like an old school like Commodore 64 or VIC-20 kind of computer where it's just the keyboard and all the guts are inside of it. He used that as his main PC for more than a year because that's all they needed. He needed web browser, needed to watch Netflix, needed to do email, and that was perfectly good for his needs. But depending on what you do on your computer, like there's no one size fits all computer for everybody because everybody has different needs.
Yeah, whoops, that's the wrong mouse. Hold on. That's absolutely true. I'm just looking real quick to see if we missed any super chats that came in. I don't see them. I know
I
that
don't
we
think so.
had some come in before, but they're not under viewer activity for some reason.
It's weird. We've been going for a couple hours, so they might have scrolled all
Yeah.
the way through.
Yeah, but even under viewer activity, I'm going to refresh the page. Somebody was asking about chords. So for those of you that don't know, Steam Input has this thing called chords where you can put different button combinations together to do different things. It's really, really powerful. Yes, that's in here. I'm going to bring it up on screen while we're waiting. I'm not going to start a game, but actually, I won't do it with Portal 2. So let's say that I want to play Pillars of Eternity and I want to edit the layout. So what I can do here is let's say the Y button. And if I click on the little gear here, you can go into settings. Actually, you can, dang it. You can go into right here where it says regular press, and you can change that to a double press. Will give you a different button. So I can say, if I press Y once, do this. If I press Y twice, do this. If I long press Y, do this.
Right.
You can have it do a thing when you start pressing and do a different thing when you release. I don't know about soft press. That's not something I've messed with. That seems weird to me, but okay. But then you have button chord. And if you go into button chord, you can then go into settings and set a different button to push with it. So if I push left bumper with the Y button, that's going to do the backspace key. And now I'm going to add a sub command. Like there's so many things that you can do with Steam Input that is just absolutely crazy to me. What I meant to do is maybe it's add extra command. Yeah, add extra command. Let's get rid of this sub command. Delete sub command. I don't know what sub commands are yet. So now on this one, this is not a button chord. You see that it doesn't say button chord to the right of it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to set it to a regular press. And so now if I press Y, it's going to do one thing. Well, here I'll set it as add command. There we go. If I press Y, it's going to press Y. If I use left button and Y at the same time, it's going to push the backspace key, which means that you can have a stupid amount of different layouts, and there's not going to be a game where you can find I don't have enough buttons in order to get the things that I want to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's really, really cool.
I don't know what sub command is though. If somebody knows, that would be awesome to know. Run Halo natively and then stream it on xCloud, please. I don't have Halo installed. If I'm going to play Halo, I'm just going to play it on my Xbox. Personally. Like that's going to be the best experience for me. And, oh, hold on. I got a message. Oh, sorry. I had to answer a message real quick.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions here?
a lot of people are asking for you to try specific games, but as we saw with Portal, installing games takes a while. So it is going to take
Oh, let's see where
too
Portal
long.
is.
It's going to take too long to install other games just to try split screen, unfortunately. Yeah, Portal still has half the way to go. What does it say for time remaining? Oh, it doesn't even have time remaining. Just says 50%.
Yeah, it just says 50%. And I'll say this, a big whiff on this, which is it's ridiculous to me that they don't have this ready. And Linus said that Valve told him that they were working on it. But the fact that you can't set it to download a game when the system is sleeping is incredibly frustrating. Like the first night I got it, I messed around for a couple of hours. I then made my video. I tried playing a couple games on it, and then I said, okay, I download all these games, put it to sleep, and I went to bed. The next morning I woke up, I turned it on. None of the games were downloaded because it doesn't download when you're sleeping.
Yeah, that's tough.
Oh yeah, left side of the progress bar, 9 minutes left.
Oh yeah, there it is. Sorry, Bill's screen that he's feeding me is just so
Yeah,
tiny
very
on my
very
screen.
small. Unless there's a bunch more questions that come in, I think it's probably a good time for us to wrap this up. So now's the chance to get in your last few questions. Can you use the deck for OBS? If there's a Linux version of OBS, I'm sure that you can. I wouldn't. Like, you're not like, I don't even like I got a pretty decent PC. I don't even like playing PC games on my computer when I'm streaming them.
Right.
It gives a bad experience.
Yeah.
Did I try Stadia? I did. We did that at the start.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying try GeForce. Boston Samus, GeForce will be the exact same as Stadia. The browser itself doesn't support controllers by default, so you have to use the WASD template and use mouse and keyboard, and that gives you various other issues. I'm sure the full version of Chrome, when it comes next week, the week after, a month from now, whenever that actually hits, the stable version that has controller support added in, it's going to be so much better for xCloud, GeForce, Stadia, Luna, all the other streaming services.
Yeah, so they sent me an email about this, actually. I'm going to open up my email and see if I can find it real quick. Because I want to make sure that I give out the right information. So cloud. All right. Chrome install cloud gaming. This is from Lawrence Yang. He said, we've had a few questions about cloud gaming through a browser. As of this moment, there's a controller issue, but there is a fix in the pipe, and we expect that it will ship soon. Once that's out, you'll be able to play streamed games through Chrome. We've worked with Microsoft to diagnose the controller issue, and since we've worked with Google to ensure Steam Deck controls work with Google Chrome, the good news is that it works, and we're able to use deck controls through Chrome to play cloud games. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's still only in the Chrome dev. You'll have to wait for a patch that makes its way for the stable public branch. We don't have much visibility on it when it will happen. So once it happens, like once they throw a patch out there, it's going to make doing all of that stuff a whole lot easier.
Yep, definitely. Here's a question. Where is it? Here it is. Quiet Stoner Dude. How's the charger and cable? Do you find it long enough, and does it get in the way when playing?
I would say it doesn't get in the way when playing. Do you find it long enough? Depends on where you're sitting and where the plug is. Like for right now, I have a plug that's in a wall. I can't reach the wall. It's probably another foot past my arm as I reach to the left. And then the wire is kind of spooled over 300, like a keyboard, a charger, a Coke bottle, my headphone thing, a Slinky, and then it comes over to this. And so it's long enough. It could be longer. No, I wouldn't complain if it were long. Well, maybe I would. I don't know. I did see like when Linus first got his weeks ago, he said that it would have been better to have the USB-C port on the bottom so that you
Yeah.
could plug it in either spot, and I agree with that.
I don't because I've run into so many issues on the Nintendo Switch when the battery's dead and you're laying in bed or sitting on the couch trying to play from a reclined position. That cable on the bottom gets in the way because you're kind of resting it on yourself. On top is actually better for that. It would be nice if it had two, one on the top, one on the
Yeah.
bottom, one on the bottom for a dock, and then one on the top for charging when you're laying down or whatever.
Somebody in chat pointed out, and rightly, that the charger does not have a detachable cable, which is irritating to me. I don't
Oh,
understand
really?
why. Yeah, it is attached. So if like this cable gets frayed, you're screwed. You got to buy a new charger, and you can't just replace the cable. I mean, we all have 1,000 USB-C cables laying around everywhere.
Yeah.
It would have been so much easier for them to make it so you could just use a different USB-C cable.
You could just, I'm sure people will just buy one of those super low or small sized or low something, can't remember what the word is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The really small Anchor power adapter plugs,
Mhm.
like the little bricks, and then just get like a 15-foot braided USB-C cable and you'll be fine. Like, can you pull out your adapter and see what the wattage or the amperage output is? It's probably like 2 amps, I would think.
It's really small, and I'm an
Yeah.
old man.
You might have to use your phone, which unfortunately is running as a camera. Low profile. There you go. Thank you, everybody. Words are tough when you've been streaming for 2 hours and thinking of all these other acronyms.
I'm just going to turn on a light real quick.
Sure.
I can't read it. It's like light gray text on black,
I
and it's
hate that.
really, really small.
I always use my phone as a magnifier because they're so hard to read just because of there's no contrast between the words and the background. Wookie Mart, use the zoom option on the deck.
Well, anyway, you know, you asked about this. Where is it? I have to say, I have a lot of wall warts that are designed so badly where, like, I'll tell you one that you'll know about, Lloyd, the Elgato key light.
Oh yeah.
That thing, like, the plug is literally this long. Like, it is literally this long. And so it covers up all of your ports or whatever. And I have on the wall over there, I have 2 outlets with 2 USB ports in between them. Because when we built this room, I was like, I want to have places to charge things. And so a lot of times when I go to plug things in, because of the USB ports, I can't plug certain devices into that particular location. No problem though. This is a well-designed thing, except for the fact that it's not a detachable cable.
Yeah, that's odd. You'd think that would be something that they would add.
Yeah,
but maybe Gen 2 will have something like that.
That's true. All right, everybody.
There it is. Kodiak input 45 watts. Doesn't say what the output is.
Would it say if I plugged it in? Like on the charging nonsense on that screen?
I don't think so. I'll
try it real quick. All right, so quick access menu. Turn all the stuff on, advanced view. Come all the way down here. All right. Well, it's actually better. There we go. So
I'm not seeing voltage in or anything like that. It's hard to see. No, it doesn't show any sort of voltage in. Nope. It just shows that it's 50% charged and has the little plug there showing that it's plugged in and charging.
Yeah.
Wolfie Chan, yes, you can connect a wireless mouse and keyboard. You can hook up anything. There was some questions about can you plug in a camera? It's USB-C, so as long as you have a USB-C camera and it has like default video drivers built into it, like most webcams they'll work on any PC. You should be able to do that. You could probably have a Skype call or a Duo or a Teams or whatever from the desktop version. I'm sure that would work because it is just a PC. It might take some tinkering, but I think it would work.
Yeah. So right now I've got this mouse is this is the Steam Deck mouse. This is the Steam Deck keyboard. And so all that stuff is like, this is a Bluetooth mouse, and this keyboard has a little dongle that's plugged into right here.
Mm-hmm.
So all that stuff works. Right bottom is showing 4.3 watts. Oh,
I can't even
all the
see
way
it.
on the bottom right.
I can't. It's too small.
No.
For
It's
me.
way bottom right of the screen, not of the layout thing.
Oh yeah, there it is. Charging 4.3 watts. So there you go. Okay, that's cool. So as long as you have a high powered, like a quick charge, that outputs 4+ watts, or sorry, 3, probably like 3.5 amps and like up to 20 watts, I'm sure, you should be able to power the Steam Deck with no problem. So any of the like high powered phone charging adapters, I'm sure would work fine for the Steam Deck.
Berengal says, how is Bluetooth audio latency? Can you game on it? Yeah, I was playing Monster Hunter yesterday on it. Oh, Lloyd, here's something that you're going to find interesting. It's loud. Like the fan is loud.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's not irritating or anything, but you can hear it. So like my wife was doing stuff in the dining room last night, and I went down and I sat in the living room. In our living room and dining room, they don't like have a wall between them. They're like right next to each other. I sat down, put a blanket on, put on my my Apple AirPod Pros, and I was playing Monster Hunter. And when I loaded it up, my wife she goes, "What's that sound?" I go, "What sound?" And that's because I had the noise cancellation turned on these. So I wasn't hearing it because the noise cancellation was canceling that out, but she could hear the fan. So when I took out my headphones, that's when I was like, "Oh yeah, it's loud." So when you were talking about sitting next to your wife and the buttons are too clicky,
yeah,
there's always like a constantly happening.
Maybe it'll be enough white noise to cover up the button presses, and it will be like a sleep. It'll be like a sleep machine. She won't be able to go to bed unless I'm sitting beside her in bed playing Steam Deck.
It's louder than the Switch.
Okay, that makes sense.
The last thing that I'm going to try, and then we're going to wrap up the stream because we've been going for a while, and my voice is running out of steam here. No pun intended.
Wolfie
I'm going to load up.
What can the Steam Deck have a VR device connected to it? Yes, not officially, and it probably will be a very bad a bad thing to do if you're susceptible to any sort of motion sickness.
Yeah, they did. Like, there's always people who are asking, can it do this? The answer is yes, but not well. And
Poorly,
that's the thing that you like. If it's not a good experience, then why bother? You don't want to have a bad experience.
Exactly.
All right, play co-op game. Standard co-op. Local split screen.
Can you buy it with the balance in your wallet? Yes. Sorry, I can't say your name. Light beams. It's possible to get GOG games like Cyberpunk working. We're not sure yet. We need to have a good launcher that will run under like a third-party launcher that will run. People are saying that it is possible, but Bill hasn't had a chance to try any other launchers to launch Epic Games Store, Games Pass, anything, Blizzard, all the other launchers. There's usually like a Linux workaround for it. Haven't had a chance to test any of that.
So there you go. Split screen is working. What's the frames percent? Let me make this bigger. I want to see.
So 60.
So 60 frames per second.
And what's your draw?
Should I? If I unplug it, we won't be able to see it.
Yeah, unfortunately. Can you just unplug the power from the dongle?
Why did? Oh. Wait, why did that happen?
That's weird. Okay, it just took a second. Keeps kicking in and out. I can't read it. Let's see if I can get this bigger a little bit. All right, so yeah, you have 2.5 hours. It's pulling 9.9 watts, 10 watts of power. So as it ticks up a little bit, you're going to see that you're going to get about 2 hours of battery life playing split screen, but it works fully. You're using a controller as a secondary control surface for this game. That's pretty good.
Yeah. There you go.
If you turn to 30 frames a second, if you click that off, I want to see what your battery life will tick to on this game, because this is an older game.
Oh, I need to keep the battery life on there so we don't have to do math.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's
see
just
what
happened?
it does.
Did the game crash?
I don't know.
I think the game crashed.
Oh, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not happy that you're doing hardware frame rate limiting, since it is an older game.
Oh, and it just like, yeah. I wonder if it rebooted the game, because now it's 30 frames per second. I wonder if it
Maybe
rebooted the game in order to have the 30 frames.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Did you have to restart the game, or did it just start again on its own?
It crashed, and then I started the game.
Okay, so you had to hit it. So I just wondered if maybe the game just rebooted itself, like exited and then restarted. But no, it crashed.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. I'm not sure if it crashed or if it was doing that, because I had the quick access menu up at the time, and when the quick access menu is up, it generally. Okay, so we're limited to 30 now.
And let's see what your wattage is after it's been played for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Wow, it's currently at 7.9. See, we'll give it a minute. So yeah, you lost 2 watts of usage. So what is that? 20% less battery usage just by switching it down to 30 frames a second.
And we'll bring this up. Yeah,
That's
we got
amazing.
45 extra minutes.
That's crazy. And just imagine if you could do that on the Nintendo Switch. If you could say, I want to have lower resolution because I want my game to last longer. Like this is one for me. As a geek that likes to play around with tech, this is the most exciting thing for me. Dialing in the optimal settings so I can get like 5 hours from this new game that just came out instead of the 2 hours that it was going to give me out of the box. Like it's exciting. As a tinkerer, this is super exciting.
People in chat are like, this will be a good game to compare on the Switch. I almost like maybe Valve did that on purpose.
Yeah, right.
Like, hey everybody, we're gonna put Portal. Sorry, wrong button. We're gonna put Portal on the Nintendo Switch, even though we have a handheld coming out. And then immediately everybody's going to be comparing Portal running on the Switch to Portal running on the Steam Deck. And Valve is like, oh gee, the Portal on the Switch doesn't run as good.
Berengal saying, can you switch to mouse and keyboard for one of the players?
I could try. I don't know if it's going to work. That's an interesting thing. So
the other funny thing is that someone pointed out is your GPU is either at 0% utilization or 99% utilization as it kicks in every once in a while.
Oh my God, look at this.
Oh wow.
Uh-oh. Maybe not. Like I'm doing mouse and keyboard, but it stopped responding.
If you go in the options, can you choose what you want to use for second player? Oh, did it?
Yeah. So I don't know if it crashed because we were doing the mouse and keyboard shenanigans, or if it crashed because we were doing the split screen nonsense. But we made Portal 2's crash multiple times now.
Hey Valve, hire us. We can make all your games perform poorly and cause you more work to fix them.
That's right. All right, everybody. I went too fast. No, I barely moved the mouse and it went crazy. So I don't know what the problem was. Split screen makes it run out of steam. Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. Lloyd, thanks for fielding the questions. I don't think I could have done this by myself without somebody to help. If you guys didn't know, Lloyd and I do a podcast called On Deck. It is a podcast all about the Steam Deck. We record right now. The cadence has been every 2 weeks. Now that the Steam Deck is out, we may be speeding that up. But we're going to have a lot of Steam Deck videos here as well. And we're going to continue to do the podcast. So you can subscribe to that wherever podcasts are downloaded, or you can watch it right here on the YouTube channel. So subscribe and turn on notifications. Next episode 15, I think, we'll have Lloyd and I and the Fox on it. He's going to be on, and we'll talk about all of the launch day hype and all the fun stuff. You guys are awesome. When is our next Q&A? We don't know yet, but we will give you guys more warning in the future. The issue was that we didn't know we were getting a Steam Deck. And if you really want to help us out, this would help a lot. Email, tweet at Valve and say, hey, it would be awesome if Lloyd had a Steam Deck too.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to piss off Valve. I don't want to piss off Valve. We're happy with just having one. We're happy just having one. I would love one. Don't get me wrong. But I can wait. I can be patient to do the emulation content I want to do, the hyper geeky tech breakdown stuff. All that stuff can wait a little bit. And there's other channels that will do it right now for people that really want that stuff.
All right.
But
bye, everybody.
Take it easy, everybody.
Where's the end button? Oh, I get the wrong mouse. This mouse has 3 modes, so I had it still on the Steam Deck. All right, here.